Ontario. This is Simpson. Simpson's cross, deflected. There's a shot by Grande, scores! What a shot by Sandro Grande!
One of the greatest goals ever scored in Canadian soccer history, and it was scored by the man that I'm about to face off against. Sandro Grande, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Great to be here.
Sandro, you obviously missed the boat with regards to MLS. I have so much to talk to you about. First, your impressions of MLS and how much you would have liked to play in the MLS.
Oh, definitely, I would have loved to play here. I mean, in Montreal, in your own city, a pretty good league. My impressions, it's still evolving. I mean, it's not at the world stage just yet. Obviously, they've got this English flair to it where it's back and forth and back and forth. It's not always the most pleasant football to be watching, but it makes for some exciting games.
Are you pleased with the progress they've made, though, over the last couple of years?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Headed in the right direction?
Bringing in, key South American players that don't make that much money, that in this league can do a real good job. I think that's going to be the key to this league. Going to get those additions like Thierry Henry and David Beckham and Robbie Keane. I mean, those guys are going to bring the level higher. But the purpose of the league is to grow talent in North America, and you can see that's happening slowly.
We won't shy away from it. We'll get into the nitty-and-gritty. A lot of people are curious to know about the Biello incident. It's so funny because you see the difference between an incident that just happened recently versus yours. Almost felt like because of the picture, you had mentioned it off camera, there was, frozen in time. Talk to us about that moment, kind of replay it and how that all blew up and how you took it.
Look, I mean, if I remember correctly, during that season, we were struggling. We lost a few games in a row. The team wasn't doing well. Tempers were boiling in the dressing room at times, in practices and sessions. Mm-hmm. So it was just an accumulation of things. Me and Mauro are roommates. We were roommates. We were very good friends. So I mean, what happened on the field was just two athletes going at it. I mean.
Sure. That happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
Recently.
I saw it with Aaron Robin and Thomas Mueller. This year, Marco Di Vaio and Felipe, it happened in one of the sessions. So, I mean, these things happen. I mean, it happened the other day with, if I'm not mistaken, Piqué Subban and Galchenyuk in sessions. So, these kind of things happen all the time. It's just that...
Do you feel that you were unfairly targeted for that? Do you feel that the treatment that you received and the backlash you received for that was unfair? Do you think that if the team was winning at that time, you'd still...
I've told many people this. I said, if that would have happened in Europe, nothing would have happened.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, in Europe, there's a different mentality. Here in Canada, I mean, everything is so nice and polite, and so people seem to get offended really quickly. In Europe, it's like, okay, you know what? They're human beings, and today I'll tell you something, and tomorrow we'll see each other and we'll still have a coffee together.
We see the positive side of playing for Montreal. Is Montreal a tough place to play?
For myself, no, it wasn't at all. I mean, when I came here, the management, Nick and Joey and Nick Filipponi that was here, they had told me, "Oh, you're going to see it's so tough to play in Montreal." But I've played in
the pressure because of the media, or
because the pressure, the fans, but you know what? You play your game, you win, you lose, you walk out of the stadium, nobody's waiting for you. I've played in places where, in Brescia, for example. We were on a little bit of a losing streak, and there was like 500 tifosi, 500 ultras that were waiting for us at the door, and our team couldn't leave the dressing room. I was in the stands. I went down to the dressing room after the game, and here we find ourselves with meeting with the head ultra of the club, which should have no say in any technical issues or tactical issues, but they just wanted to meet the club because they feel like there's so much a big part of the club that they need to have their input as well.
John Lemiaz was on recently on a face-off segment. He talked about the pressure of upper management and how difficult it is for a coach and how much involvement there is. Do you appreciate that from management? Do you appreciate a hands-on environment for management to say, you know what, we also want to supplement the coach, we also want to maybe overstep the coach sometimes? Is that the kind of environment you like playing in?
I don't know. I think my mentality, if I would be in that position, is like, I need to be hiring the best guy for the job. And if I hire the best guy for the job, I need to let him do what he needs to do. If I'm constantly stepping over his feet, then I can just hire anybody and just constantly be right behind his back. If I go and get the best coach out there and I feel that, you know what, this guy's going to be, it's normal in the season, there's going to be talks with management, there's going to be the coach coming up to the president's office to have a chat. We see it with AC Milan and Berlusconi very, very often. But most
Does he
of the
come
other,
down to the locker room often? Does Saputo come down quite a bit and have conversations with you guys in the locker room? And
yeah, you know what? Like for that, yeah. But I mean, it was never anything like menacing.
Player
or-
personality-ish. Okay.
It was you know like good stuff. I mean, it's normal. You know, sometimes people see you know like he comes on the field, you know, when they win, and then
Sure.
when they lose, he's not on the field. So people tend to think, okay, now he's
the
mad
wrong
and stuff,
impression.
you know. So, but yeah, he would come down often. I mean, with regards to technically and tactically speaking, he would never really put a word to us. Maybe with in behind closed doors
Sure.
with the coaches, with the coaching staff, with John and Mark and now maybe Schaldebaum. There was a bit of a conflict. You know?
With his acquisition, part acquisition of Bologna, and seeing how his influence of Italian players coming to Montreal, do you think that Montreal needs to stray away from that, to maybe focus on diversity with regards to the talent? You see some of the other teams in the MLS seeing so much success with South American players,
Yeah,
European
look, I
players.
mean,
Do you think that's a little bit different?
There's a couple of countries in South America where you can go. Look, I mean, the top league in Ecuador has very, very good players. The top league in Peru and even in Argentina, I mean, and these guys don't make that much money in these kind of countries,
So
you
tapping
can
into that would be...
Yeah, you can easily go get a Piatti, Obviously Piatti is a little bit more high profile, but you can go get some guys that can make a difference for you. The guys that Vancouver went to get this year, Morales and the other couple of forwards that they got. I mean, those are guys that come from small countries, and
Don't cost you much.
Don't cost you much. They're second-tier guys. Now, are you still going to go to Italy and get your superstar and hopefully get a Thierry Henry and Robbie Keane? Look, I saw Robbie Keane last night in the game. He was unbelievable. I mean, nobody in the MLS can play like Robbie Keane or Thierry Henry because we just don't have the talent here. Right. We're not at that level yet, in North America. So these guys are good for the league. David Beckham was great for the league. Marco Di Vaio was outstanding for Montreal. It's normal we have an Italian community. They want to bring in an Italian. But there are countries in Europe, Serbia, Croatia, Bulgaria. You go to Romania, there are some big players. And sometimes even in the second and third division in Italy, there are very, very good players.
Before we let you go, we're going to have a little bit of fun with you. As always, I have a little segment that's called the Rapid Fire segment. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Yeah. Give me your first impression, one-word answer, two-word answers of what comes to mind. All right, so first things first, was Mauro Biello the best captain in Impact history?
It's the only captain I had. Before that, it was Nick. I'm not sure.
No comment?
No comment.
Best player you've ever played with?
Roberto Baggio.
You've played for many teams across the world. Which team is the closest to your heart?
I would say Frosinone.
Will MLS ever compete with major European leagues at the rate that they're going right now?
One day, yeah.
Does Canada stand a chance of qualifying for the World Cup in their future? Do you see that happening?
Hopefully.
You do? Great to see you. Thanks for taking the time, Sandro.
Thank you.
Stay with us. My rant is up next. You don't want to miss it.